Hi Sassy Stampers, this is Tammy and we are here today to put together our card for this one designed by Hampton. Now ours is going to look more like this one, but I wanted to show you this other one that she created. So beautiful. Let's kind of look at what your kit entailed. You had in your kit a card base and this mat. Then you have one of these, and I haven't finished punching out all the little parts of it, but this is not something we're going to use on the card, but Sally, because she used this part, and as you can see it cut right out of there, didn't want these to go to waste, or the center. So this is a really pretty little piece as well that is included in your kit, and we won't necessarily be using it today, but she also included a little oval for you, because it fits nicely in that. And if you want to stamp a sentiment on that and put it inside the card or even on the front of the card, you have that option. So she just didn't want these to go to waste. So when you pick them up out of the card, go ahead and set them aside, because we're not going to be using them today in the assembly video, but you may want to use those. So definitely you're going to want your card base. You're definitely going to want this piece of mat. And then because we have already done the cut, the coloring, shaping, and embellishing of all of our flowers. And once again, she gave me lots of extras. So I have already, as we did in our video, colored these, and I have colored my corset and my collar piece as well. And all of these flowers, which we're not going to use nearly all of these flowers on this card. I just went ahead and made them all up because they're so pretty that I will definitely put them on another card. So your colored pieces, your flowers, your corset, your card base, and if you have some Stampin' Dimensionals or any kind of 3D pop-up pieces, foam tape, foam squares, I think that would be that would come in pretty handy for the assembly of this video. So let's get started. If you buy from Heartfelt, usually they have these very, very thick Stampin' Dimensional type of things. I've always called these pop-up dots. I don't know what the exact name of those is, but I do like how thick these are whenever you use the ones that are provided or that you can get through Heartfelt. And I believe that's where I got these. If they're not Heartfelt, they're something similar. If you have Stampin' Up! Stampin' Dimensionals, that will work as well. So whatever you have will work just fine. And if you don't want your corset and collar piece to be popped up, then you don't have to use that. So the first thing we're going to do is to just assemble the base of the card. And all that is by putting this on the front. I'm going to use a tape runner. I know I don't use a tape runner very often, but I'm going to use one today. So it will make quick assembly of this card. This one happens to be a Glue Dots tape runner. I really like the Gina K ones. I like the Tombow tape runners. And I like to put a whole lot of stick on my cards, because then I know they're going to stay together. That's probably way more than you need, but that's just me. I tend to be a person who does that. So once we line this up and we've got a nice all the way around. So once you have the front on your card, the next thing that we're going to do is put your corset and your collar piece on the card. Now I noticed from Sally's that she put it a little bit lower down, so probably about here, and I am going to use these very, very thick pieces. You can always cut these in half if you don't want them to be quite this big around, but they have a lot of dimension to them, and I love that because you kind of get a shadow underneath your pieces whenever you use these really large pieces. The other thing I've noticed about these from Heartfelt, it's really hard to get the release paper off the back. I have trouble with it every single time. It's like it's super duper stuck back there. So forgive me while I struggle with this. But they are super sticky once you get them on, and they don't move around too much. So yeah, they are really hard to get off. Okay. So Jennifer McGuire will often put a little bit of liquid glue on top of that so that you have slip. If you want to have a little bit of slip before you put this in place, go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to press pretty hard and get that down. So see, look how dimensional that is. That's really nice. It's really popped up and it gives you that nice shadow. I like that. So now for me, I want this collar to have a tiny bit of bend to it. I want it to sort of almost look like it could be sitting on somebody's shoulders. And let's see if I have room for a full one of these back here. I really don't. I want to cut this in half. You can see I already have one cut in half here. So I want to use this little half piece. And I'll cut another one in half. And these aren't the scissors that are supposed to not stick to stuff, so hopefully it'll cut. Nope, it's gonna stick to my scissors. Ugh. Okay. So I want this little half piece as well. So you can see how I shaped it just a little bit, and that way I just think it looks pretty, like it has some dimension to it there. I could put a really thick pop-up dot under here, under the curve, which, you know what, let's just do that. Let's put a pop-up dot right there as well in the curve, and then pop that off the release paper that is so hard to get off. Heartfelt, please do something about your release papers. You can use a sticky tool, like a knife, and that'll help pull these off as well. So I'm going to put this other half piece right there so that my shoulders can kind of bend down a little bit, and that'll be double thick right there. And nobody will see it, but it'll help make that neck piece kind of rounded. Oh, I almost forgot to take the release paper off of my shoulder pieces. Come on, release paper. Okay. Okay. Bend that. Little tiny bit higher up. Okay. So when you look at it, you can see that I've got double underneath the neck and then just the little underneath the shoulders. But I do like that dimension that it gives the card. So now we are going to add our flowers. So along this bottom edge is where Sally had the double flowers, the ones that are like a larger flower with a smaller one inside of it. And we need 4 of them. So I'm picking those out. And then I also need some smaller ones for up here at the top. I think I'll pick these as the smaller ones. There's my 4th right there. So I want to glue those in place. And then I want one of these on each piece of where the little rose is on the collar. And one more here. So I'm just going to glue these on with a little dot of glue on the back. And I'll start with my center one. And I'll put a nice little dot of glue. And place my flower. And just move those around a little bit before that glue sets to make them look exactly how I want them to look. Now we'll start with our bottom ones. Dot of glue, place the flower, dot of glue. Little tricky here because there's not as much paper to go with right here. I'm having to put the dot of glue on the sort of the string there. And because these are hard, because we've already put the glaze on top of them, just a little bit of a challenge. And now we just need to let this sit. If you had extra flowers and you wanted to put flowers anywhere else, or leaves, I have a few leaves left over from another one I did. Anything that you want to add to this, it's your card. Feel free to add to it. And if you have extra flowers, goodness gracious, use those. They're so gorgeous. You can embellish anything you want with those flowers. Just give that a few minutes to dry. I mean, the glue holds pretty quickly, but if you give it a few minutes to dry, you're gonna like your results a whole lot better. For my embellishments, I used rhinestones. This is liquid pearls. It's actually Tonic Studios version of liquid pearls, which I believe they call Nouveau Crystal Drops. And the color I used is Crystal Drops Ivory Seashell. So it's just a nice pearlescent color. That, of course, is that. This right here, the very, very glittery parts of this card were done with a pen. It's actually called Stardust Gel Pens, and I got this at Hobby Lobby, $5 for 2 of them. I had an open one, but really nice because it's a nice fine tip, and that's how I was able to get these diamonds colored, because it's such a nice fine tip to that. So the rest of this I colored with Copic markers, and I also colored the flowers with Stampin' Up! Inks. Earlier I was working with a jewel picker, and I couldn't remember the name of the jewel picker that I had, but We Are Memory Keepers has another version of that jewel picker, and it is called, oh, I forget this. This one has kind of a gummy substance on it. It works the same way. It will pick up something for you to place it. This one is called a Quick Stick by We Are Memory Keepers, and the one that I was using in my other video was a jewel picker by Marvy, dual-ended jewel picker by Marvy. These are about $5.99 on Simon Says Stamp, and about $5.79 was the cheapest one I could find on Amazon. But I like both of them. They do the exact same thing, just two different versions of something that will pick stuff up for you. So I need to clean this one off. Whenever these get a little bit not sticky, you just wash them. Even using tweezers sometimes, you know, you can put things in place more easily than you can do with your hands. So tweezers, I particularly like EK tools, and I love these because when you squeeze them, they come open, and when you let go, they hold on. So you don't have to keep something squeezed. You just, once you've got it, and you let go by, you know, squeezing. So good tools to have whenever you're working with precision pieces. Beautiful card. Thanks, Sally, so much for designing this card for us and putting it all together and cutting out all of these flowers. My goodness, that was a lot of cutting. So let me show you another version. I told you guys that I recommended you doing blue, but I did a version of this in pinks, and I thought it turned out really beautiful. This is a Stampin' Up. This is called All Stitched Up, I believe, the sentiment. And this piece right here that I added, then of course I used the corset and collar, and I just added flowers, Heartfelt Creations flowers. And this is the little branches with the snow and ice on them, and then the leaves are from the window box fillers. So that is one other version. And of course, Sally's beautiful cards. And thank you so much for joining me today so we could put this together. Once again, it was a whole lot easier to get it together because we did our flowers first. Sally said she would be glad to order for you. She has her platinum membership, and she will order for you. I just wanted to show you it was window box fillers that I used. And this is the flower shaping kit by Heartfelt. And I went ahead and ordered this so I could show you. It's the same pad, and it has the tool, and these are magnetic, and they go from really tiny piercer all the way up to this biggest stylus ball. So if you would like Sally to order one of these for you, all you have to do is tell her what you'd like to have. This is your piercing mat. This is so that you can pierce into the centers of flowers and things. And it all nice and goes into this box. It's a really easy way to keep it. So if you want one of these, if you want any of the I bought the Floral Fashionista dies, and Sally will be glad to order these for you. Now, one last thing I have to show you before we leave. I would like for you to see the card that we will be working on next month. This one is being brought to us by Debbie Warwick. Watch the spider. He goes up and down. I think kids are going to love this one. And just to show you that you don't necessarily have to do a spider, here is a little koala that goes up and down. So cute.